Hey, you guys, welcome to Regardless. I am so excited to have you here. Regardless is the go-to hub for tips and tools to keep you going, babe, reminding you that you've got this. Welcome back to Regardless, my loves. Today we have not one special guest, but two. Let's please give a warm welcome to Dr. Felice Chan and Heather Chan, who are the co-founders of Moonbow Skin. Dr. Felice is a Chinese medicine doctor specializing in gut-brain connection, and she really is the guru when it comes to helping you with overall wellness, stress, digestion, and she also owns Felice Acupuncture here in LA, joined by her sister Heather Chan, who is pretty phenomenal as well. I can relate to her a lot. She was in private equity for years before she started Moonbow Skin, and both of these ladies are creating a skincare company that takes traditional Chinese medicine and reimagines it as really the new medicine, skincare, and beauty for our generation. So I am so excited to have you ladies here. Welcome to Regardless.
Thank you for having us.
You
What
said
a
it
pleasure.
perfectly.
Wow.
Really?
I mean,
Yes.
us in a nutshell.
Honestly, I think that people should just hire me to introduce them because like it's becoming like
you'd be
easy
a
for
great
me.
TV personnel, just, introducing everyone and
Yeah.
being on screen.
I'm also
Perfect.
thinking our voices are very similar. Can people tell us apart through voice?
Okay, so
It should be fine.
I think we're gonna be fine. Also, we have video, so
That's true.
just saying.
Yes.
But I want to get right to it. Your background story is amazing, and I really want those listening to understand what makes you both so unique. And so, can you share a little bit more about what it was like for you guys growing up and how really this traditional Chinese medicine concept has followed you to where you are
Yeah.
today? So,
Your
I'll start
story.
with
You want to start? Go for it.
Yes. Well, I can start from a beauty and lifestyle perspective. So both me and Felice grew up in Hong Kong for 18 years before we went to school here in the States. And growing up, we ate a lot of very holistic meals, all very hot. We had broth soup every single night. So even if we had an Italian meal, so our parents and our family were very, I guess we're very traditional in a sense where we had dinners every single day together as a family,
Yeah,
five
we
of
really
us.
prioritized that, and it was so important. And looking back,
Yes.
I'm like, wow, what a gift to be able to do that, to have
Yeah.
a hot meal on the table and to be together.
And even with our
Mm.
parents traveling for work, they both worked full time in corporate jobs. They
Wow.
would come back for dinners and we would have family dinners. And in these dinners, we would always have broth soup. And we would drink that as our first meal before having any other meal after that, whether
Wow.
it's Western or Eastern
Yeah.
or Thai, Italian, French, you name
And the
it.
best thing about these broths is that it was also infused with Chinese herbs. And when we were
Yes.
younger, I had no idea what these were. I was like, oh, interesting. I'm like,
We would see these little dried fruits in the soup and we
Yeah.
would be like, what is this? But it
or
tastes
like
really
apricot
good.
kernels or, different ginseng. I'm like, huh. I'm like, strange, but
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
We're just,
And not until we came to college did we realize that really helped line our gut and was very good for our digestion, which then emulated into our skin as a manifestation of how glowy and healthy our skin was. Because when I moved to the US and same as Felice, I dealt with so many gut issues, especially coming to the US with a lot of processed
Yeah.
foods. So that's my whole journey with TCM. And just on a side note of beauty too, our mom is a beauty enthusiast, taught us a skincare routine when we were 8 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sat us
I mean,
down,
look at your skin.
literally sat us down and was like, this is your face wash.
this is how you
your-"
put on the cream. You go up against gravity.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, amazing.
I mean, and when she was 7 years old, her and her sisters, when she was 7, she went to a Sephora of Hong Kong or Lane Crawford and she bought Elizabeth Arden products when she was 7 years old.
Oh my gosh.
So beauty has been instilled in our heart and soul
Wow.
since we were very young. Traditional Chinese medicine as a lifestyle was. And then Felice, you want to take it on to when we moved to the US?
Yeah, and our story continues when we moved to the U.S. We went to college together, which I'm so grateful for, a small liberal arts school in Maine, and we
1,800
absolutely loved it.
kids.
Yes,
and you both went together.
we went
went
together.
together.
It wasn't the plan. I applied first, and I got in, and Heather was teetering between West Coast, East Coast about
Okay.
a liberal arts versus not, and we ended up in the same space, and I'm so grateful.
So grateful. It was a big
Wow.
culture shock. That was the first time we learned about Costco.
Scary.
Learned about the highway system in the US.
Highways,
Like the
Costco,
opposite of what
freeways,
you guys are
stop
about.
signs.
Yeah.
Stop
my God.
signs growing up.
No, we
Just
when
yield
we first
signs.
when we first drove in college, we just drove past stop signs not knowing what it was.
No, once. And then
It was
our friends were like, you
embarrassing.
gotta stop. I was like, oh. I was like, well, it's
Oh
there
my
for a reason
gosh,
because we're
because
so used to
are there-
yield. It's all roundabouts in Hong Kong because of the
Oh.
British system.
To me, that is way more confusing than a stop sign.
And like actual light systems.
Yeah.
Anyways, besides the point. So we moved here. Had an incredible time in college together. And I studied neuroscience and pre-med, and Heather was business and visual
and art.
arts. So, and through college, we found our niche, and we were together for 21 years. Same roommates for 21 years, best friends for 21 years. And after college, that's where we digressed.
Wow.
I moved to Boston to work in a hospital, and Heather moved to Denver to start her private equity job. And once we separated, I think we were really able to come into our niche, into who we are as individuals, because our whole life we were twins. We were the Asian twins, the
Our
Chen twins.
identity was together.
Yeah,
as
we were meshed
twins.
together, which I was like, that's awesome. I loved being Heather's best friend and her twin sister.
Yes.
But I think when we actually physically separated, that's when we were able to find what brings us most joy.
And our own identity. And that was so important
Yeah.
for us to also learn about what we loved.
And then to come back together to create moonbow Skin. And for me, I was in Western medicine for all of my life. My childhood, even in Hong Kong, was Western medicine based. In college, I studied Western. And then when I was in Boston working in a hospital, that was my transition to understand, oh my gosh, like this is not the medicine for me. I need something more holistic. I need something that addresses emotions. I need something that reminds me of my culture and my upbringing. I'm going to go back to Chinese medicine school.
Wow.
And that was my transition. And with that expertise combined with Heather's expertise,
Yeah.
and she has her own.
In my journey in private equity, I was in Denver for, 3 to 5 years. On and off because I traveled a bunch and spent COVID in LA and all of that. I was going through my own quarter life crisis during COVID, not being fulfilled. Yes. It was a tough time for everyone, but I was also so grateful because I was in LA with Felice. That was my aha moment where I woke up every morning at 6 a.m. to watch the sunset, wrote in sunrise, wrote in my journal, but also wrote in my journal every single day on what I ate because I had very bad gut issues. So I have a diary of everything I ate for an entire year, meditated, really understood who I was, and also wrote things down on what I was grateful for, but also trying to experience and understand other different facets of my career and different career opportunities. So I was looking into working in the mailroom in a creative agency, working at an auction house, starting something, and I was just in that space where I didn't know what I wanted to do. So after COVID, I moved to New York, and in New York, you're surrounded by such ambitious people. And with this ambition, that's when I called Felice last year in September. And I was like, we need to start the skincare company because we've been talking about it for years.
Yeah.
And 4 years ago during COVID, that was the first time we mentioned it together, but we both weren't ready, right? I wanted to learn more about the business aspects in private equity, understanding how to underwrite investment, understanding the fundraising, just the whole business acumen.
And I was still in school,
And she was still in
learning the
school.
nuances of Chinese medicine during COVID.
Yeah. And so last year in September, I was like, Felice, we have such a unique idea. There is a big white space in the market. We should just go for it. So we started researching, and that one step to really realizing that something could happen was when we found a partner, a lab partner, and a manufacturer who could manufacture skincare products with traditional Chinese medicine herbs.
Exactly.
And so that was a whole process. That took a while, right? We did a lot of calls and we went to trade shows. We tried to find a partner that was good for us. And we worked with a partner for the first few months
initially, and it wasn't the right fit, and so we had to transition. So it took a lot of time, and I'm so grateful for that extension. Even though we're like, oh my gosh, we want this now, we needed to make it feel right to us, to our gut and soul. And we found this lab, and they've been perfect. They've been incredible.
Yeah.
It's kind of a no-brainer, and this is so cool because you both are, I just said this before we started recording, but giving yin and yang.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
And looking more from the business side of it, it's so important to obviously understand the operational side and what does this look like, and the fact that now, babe, you've been creating this persona and business on Instagram and beyond that, and you have an audience to tap into. There's so much power in that.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I did want to share. I mean, it's incredible that when we thought about moonbow and how we could share it with the world, I mean, the whole purpose is to share Chinese medicine with the entire world because it is such a beautiful medicine. It's not just a medicine, but it's a lifestyle. It completely changes your wellness, how you are inside and out, how healthy you feel, longevity. I mean, everything is so incredible. But also the necessity of it, which I found with my social media and just how many people were seeking to feel empowered to understand how they can help themselves. With acupressure points, with herbs, how you eat, teas you could make, to just boost your wellness overall.
Yeah,
and
we
so many facets.
exactly. We wholeheartedly believe that post-COVID, everyone is stepping back to understand that health and wellness is very important to longevity. And so we are realizing that there is a need in the market for something so special and something that has roots to our traditions. And so when we were thinking about a name for our company, we actually were distilling it from 150 names. And we were going back and forth last Christmas break when we were in Hong Kong.
I was always stuck on moonbow, but
She was
Heather,
stuck on moonbow
for so long. I was like, this is going to be it. I'm not going to
Yeah.
waver. But Heather,
I was looking, I even forget at this time, like what other names. I was looking at Rare Breed. Was
but
one of
it's
the
too close
other
to Rare
names.
Beauty. There was Rhino Rituals.
There's rhino rituals, but we didn't have an affinity to the word rhino.
No,
It is a
moonbow
Chinese herb
it's
traditionally.
perfect. And I'm so sorry that I butchered. I think.
Oh
I
my God.
totally
No
fine.
worries.
No
No worries.
I make up like my own languages sometimes. So it's like,
I love that. We all have our own languages.
right? Yeah.
But when at New Year's, we spent it separately. Felice looked up at the sky.
And I was
she
in
saw-
Hong Kong at this point. You were.
I was in India.
Oh wow.
And she saw she saw a moonbow in the sky. And a moonbow is a rainbow around a moon.
And it happens every so often, let's say a 10% occurrence with perfect lighting, perfect clouds. And I stared up at the sky, literally at countdown. I walked outside of my friend's house and I took a picture of it. I'm like, Heather, this is
the sign.
This is it.
Yeah,
This is the sign.
You got to listen to it.
So I saw it. I saw it on text on New Year's, and she was like, "Happy New Year, Heather. We need to name it Moonbow."
Moonbow. Here it is.
And
I'm
I was
staring
like,
at it right
Let's
now.
do it. Our brand is called Moonbow.
But I mean, it makes so much sense because moonbow
Yes.
is yin and yang. The moon is very yin in Chinese medicine. And also just energetically, it's our feminine side. It's our dormancy. It's where we rest. And yang, which is the opposite. It's our masculine. It's our activity and how much energy we have. And that's what a rainbow is because it's beautiful and vibrant. And so a moonbow is literally a perfect synergy of both, which is what Heather and I are. We're both twins. We're identical twins, but we're yin and yang. I'm the more yin, she's the more yang.
Yes, I'm the more type A business. She's the more holistic, the more
Type
calm.
B, yeah.
Wow.
But type A to some extent.
Type A to
Yes.
some
I mean,
extent.
it's all integrated. I mean, yin and yang is an integration. It's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
flow that never ends.
And with the duality of Moonbow, right? Identical twins, opposites, but me,
East and West.
me living in New York and Felice living in LA, us bringing Eastern traditions from Hong Kong to the Western Hemisphere.
It's truly about dualities and polarities. So it's perfect.
Exactly. And integrating Eastern traditions and Western innovation and really, sharing to the world that they can exist together and that they can coexist together. And so that's our whole branding, right? To really share the powers of traditional Chinese medicine to the Western world.
This is so beautiful. And I love like the educational aspect of this. And I think what's so important for me here is like, regardless of what's showing up right in our world. And I think especially as 20-something women, I'm sure that you both experience this coming to the US, but there's so much freaking noise. And I think it's
so
more
much.
of like, you have to be this, you have to look a certain way.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And it's like even scrolling on Instagram, like we're looking at lip fillers, Botox, Ozempic, all of these things that we're constantly seeing our peers and women who look amazing. But it's like, how do we get back down to the basics? And I would love to learn like what that looks like for the two of you.
Where beauty comes from inside out.
Yes. I mean, where do we start? I think it comes a lot to how we eat and nourish our bodies. I mean, food is medicine. It's the whole premise of what Chinese medicine is. It's how you eat. It's how you understand and listen to your body. And for us, we eat a lot of warm and cooked foods. We really prioritize 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
Whenever we're together, we always, wake up early, start our day with a warm glass of lemon water. And I'll cook us breakfast or she will cook us breakfast.
We always have eggs and avocado toast.
Yeah, some
every
type of
single morning.
protein rich. We'll have movement together. We'll do a workout together if we have space and time. We'll journal and meditate either together or separately. And I think a morning routine to us is very vital to how we feel the rest of the day because we are very much go, a very much packed schedule. And so to prioritize that stillness in the morning.
To
really
feel
sets us up
grounded
for the
is
rest of the
super,
day.
super important. And that's the wellness routine that I found, post-COVID as a way to focus on my health and wellness and my mental state, especially during, a very busy time in private equity. It's very hard, right? And so at least for my journey, focusing on the wellness side of it made me realize that this is my calling, right? To share the powers of medicine through moonbow and also through Felice's practice.
I mean, and you too, with your gut journey, I mean, Chinese medicine herbs helped you so much.
Yeah.
I mean, me and my skin journey, I went through my own journey too and resorted completely to natural medicines and supplements the way I learned it. I mean, I was in school, I got off 10 years of hormonal birth control.
Oh yeah, me too. It was game changing.
Yeah, and I mean, at some point
neither
I was
of us
like,
are in birth control right
yeah,
now.
to me, I'm like, I'm in a beautiful relationship. I feel safe. I don't want to be on birth control anymore. And I want my mind and my body to communicate, And I was like, I'm just going to cut it off. And of course, I chose the time 6 months before my wedding.
You're like, not sure how this is going to affect me.
But I was like, it felt right. And I remember my husband asking, he was like, why did you choose that time? I was like, I just did it. And I'm so glad I did. But my body, oh my goodness, from my emotions, my emotional volatility, obviously my hormones trying to regulate, but also my skin. I had, full-blown debilitating acne for months. And I completely—
Right before her wedding, she did not know what to do.
Well, I mean, at first, I, had to kind of take a step back. I'm like, I know my body. Let me understand this from a Chinese medicine perspective. I know it's coming from the inside. So I got acupuncture weekly. I took Chinese herbs. I changed the way that I ate. I did everything. And within, 4 to 6 months, cleared everything right before my wedding. It was perfect timing.
Yes. And of course, skincare that was not sensitive to Felice's skin was
and
also
I think
important.
that time it was my journey into the skincare world, learning about all these topical treatments for the face, from vitamin C, hyaluronic, niacinamide, from the Western perspective, but also understanding, okay, there's not a lot of Chinese medicine alternatives out there for the skin. There was a few that was great, but my skin was so sensitive. I was putting benzoic acid. I was doing everything to dry it out, but I'm like, that my skin doesn't work with. Vitamin C makes my skin break out, but I'm, it was all the buzz. So I'm like, what is going on? So I healed it from the inside out. I went gentle, and I figured it out.
I mean, you look freaking amazing.
Thank you.
I would never guess.
Thank you.
So I'm curious, because I know that we're talking a lot about like diet, which I know is everything. I'm really curious to understand, like, what are specific parts or pieces of traditional Chinese medicine that you ladies use on a day-to-day basis that you think any 20-something girl, like if she knew the secret to this, it would be game-changing? And it can be like one simple thing.
Maybe it might be helpful, Felice, if you talk about like what is TCM.
Yeah.
Right.
I think,
Just
to preface that,
from the very bare bones.
Chinese medicine is a lifestyle, right? It's not just a medicine. It's not just acupuncture and herbal medicine, which is what happens when someone comes into a Chinese medicine clinic. But it's a lifestyle of understanding that your body needs rest, right? Meditation, qigong, tai chi, how you eat. So it's truly a synergy of everything in your life.
Yeah,
that is what Chinese medicine is, and the lifestyle that we want to share with others.
So TCM is essentially integrating mind, body, and soul that focuses not only on your physical health, but emotional health. So for the 20-something-year-olds out there, focusing on a morning routine is super, super important, whether it's Qigong or something that you're more comfortable with, working out, we're going for a walk, right? Even it's going for, just finding your morning routine, grabbing a coffee or drinking lemon water, whatever that is, to just feel grounded.
That brings you peace and it's your mindfulness. I think that's awesome, right? It's the yin to the yang. It's the yin before the yang of the day. And I guess my tip from a Chinese medicine perspective is warmth. Warmth is our friend from every aspect. From our digestion loves warmth. Our reproductive system loves warmth. So, I mean, I only drink room temp and warm water. I haven't drank a smoothie in like 6 years.
We never drink any ice water, so we don't have any ice in our fridge. Neither in New York or LA. And her husband and my boyfriend always gets very
they're like, why is there no ice? I'm like, you get an ice machine.
Like, we don't drink smoothies. Even at hot yoga, Felice
I'll have like a hot tea.
Felice brings hot tea to hot yoga.
It feels good for me. I mean,
it's incredible.
So warmth, right?
Okay. Warmth is your friend. Because we're warm-blooded. I mean, it's our digestive power. We have this digestive fire that brings us a healthy gut, but also gives us energy. Our reproductive system, we have a kidney fire. It needs to be warm. When someone has period cramps, for example, I'm like, warm pack, hot water, hot tea. that's going to help you a lot. The cold is going to stagnate. Like
Wow.
cold in general stagnates your body in whatever capacity. Whenever there's stagnation, you have pain and ailments. However, it comes
Yeah.
upon
Question.
there's headaches.
But
or-
not saying that if you want a smoothie,
absolutely,
go
yeah.
for
I mean,
it.
everyone's
Yeah,
different, but this
go
is
for
just
it.
how we live our
Yeah,
lives.
I'm curious, so what is up with like ice baths then and like cold plunges?
okay.
Okay,
I
that's
have a-
actually such a good question.
I have a very interesting perspective.
Okay, give it to me.
I mean, I think because of my Western
Yeah.
background, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much research about how it's great for mental health. I think it's awesome. I don't think everyone needs it. And I think it's great with contrast therapy where you end on hot. In my clinic, I'm going to have contrast therapy. I'm going to have a sauna and a cold plunge. And because traditionally thousands of years ago, traditional Chinese medicine born in China, people would go into the river to bathe, and that was cold, which is absolutely okay. But as long as you find your opposing heat, it is fine. There's certain times of the month, for example, women, when they're on their periods, I'm like, don't go into the ice bath. You don't need it. Cold plunging will stagnate everything. Just go in the sauna. It's really understanding your body and the balance.
Yes.
Wow.
yes. And for every single person, it's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Which
if you
makes
tend
sense.
towards cold, don't go into an ice bath. It's going to make you
Yeah.
colder.
It
Like
is.
I run,
it's super
yeah.
interesting.
We both run super, super cold all the
I'm
time.
freezing all the time.
Yes.
But I have to say, like, even for me, I know that we quickly spoke about this on the phone. I think Heather, you were the one who had all the gut issues.
Yes.
But for me, I had literally chronic UTIs. Maybe it was like a year and a half ago. I had 14 in 1 year, and I was on 15 antibiotics, and it fucked up, pardon my French, my entire gut.
It ruins your gut.
And then I got into like an amazing holistic doctor in San Diego. You probably know her because it's a very famous clinic. It's Pacific Pearl Health that my
Yeah.
parents were so
amazing.
kind.
Amazing. Love that. Right.
And that fixed everything,
I'm
but it
so
all
happy for
stemmed with like changing my diet, taking like natural supplements.
you
but
have to. I mean, antibiotics, it's so necessary for certain things,
Yeah.
right? But it shouldn't be the go-to for UTIs, right? There's so many amazing Chinese herbs, the ways that you eat, even like corn silk tea, which is like the little
Yeah.
fluffy things in
Yeah.
corn on the cob that is amazing at draining the bacteria, makes you
Yeah.
eat. But it's all about education, right? Like I wouldn't know this
No.
unless I went to school. I went to 4 years of masters, a Chinese medicine master's program, and then extended it for a doctorate to really understand the nitty gritty. So how am I supposed to translate that to the world?
Yeah.
Mm.
But also,
So we
people
should
have to
as well.
realize that TCM, it's a medicine that takes time, right? It's
Yes,
not
it's
just a quick
patience.
fix like Western medicine where you put a Band-Aid on it. It's a preventative, holistic solution. So while it takes time, you have to truly believe that, you need to put the time and effort to do that
And trust the process.
and trust the process.
And this is so important because our world is so used to getting something immediately. And I think that's obviously why Botox exists and plastic surgery and all
Yes.
these things. And my goal is like to really remind women that you are enough, babe, like regardless of what other
Yes.
people are doing, like
You weren't.
just look inward and like
Yes.
pause and sit with yourself. Like I think if we're able to pause, we have all the answers.
Yes.
And if we take the time, like there is a solution. And I think there is this perfect match of like trusting, which I think goes along with like the yin and like also making it happen, but we can make it happen in a natural way,
Yes.
which is why I love
Absolutely.
TCM and what you both are creating through Moonbow. It's incredible. I do have to ask because I think this is super powerful. As twin sisters, I'm sure there's a lot of twin sisters out there who don't have this same, close relationship. And I think now more than ever, looking at just our world right now, we have to have each other's back as women.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So in what ways do you two support one another? Like when you're having an off day, like how do you support each other regardless?
I am so grateful for our relationship, right? We talk every single day. We are sisters, but also best friends. When I'm having a very bad day, she is my first call. She's my first text. When I'm dealing with issues personally and work and everything, I call her, right? And it's just so interesting for me because while we are best friends, we put on another layer of being business partners too.
Yep.
So when we first started Moonbow, I think it took us, I would say, maybe 2-3 weeks to kind of get used to our new rhythm,
and
but
just
but it came so
digest it.
naturally.
And I remember Heather told me, she was like, that moving forward for however long moonbow is, the next decade, for the rest of our lives, whatever it is, a lot of our conversations are going to be about our company and business.
Yeah.
And she was like, are you okay with that? And I was like, I never really thought about it. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
of course. I mean, I think now it just means we talk more.
Yes.
And I'm fine with that.
And ultimately, it's being so candid with each other. When I feel overwhelmed, I let her know. When she feels overwhelmed, she lets me know and is super transparent about how she feels. And I think that makes our bond stronger and the foundation of moonbow more successful.
And I think because we know each other so well, I mean, even though she doesn't verbally, tell me I'm stressed, I can see it because I've known her for my whole life.
I can feel it.
And we're just like, okay, like we're in a space where we don't have enough percentage to give to match to 100. So let's like back off and let's find a different time. Let's regroup in the morning, or let's drink a cup of tea and then talk in 30 minutes.
And we found our balance. She focuses everything on the medicinal side and the formulation side of the business, and I'm on the business side. But everything else that we are still learning about, we do it together, right?
I mean, the marketing, content creation, PR, everything that is so unfamiliar to us.
Yes.
But it's a whole beautiful world that we're like, we got each other, we got each other's backs. We're both exploring it together, and she'll share something with me and I'll share something back.
And part of starting a business, problems exist every single day, and it's about how to overcome those problems. So it's essentially a journey of fixing problems that will make your business successful. And because I have Felice and Felice has me, we have each other to lean on to be able to figure a problem out.
And learning
successfully
from that,
learning from that. Yeah.
But it almost
feels
gracefully. It feels like we aren't really taking the whole brunt of whenever an issue happens, because I'm like, there's two of us.
Together.
I mean, it's how like when we were younger, no one ever, targeted to put us down or bully us, because I'm like, there's two of us.
It was always two against one.
It's like a whole SWAT team.
Yes.
No, that's super powerful. It's just like constantly pivoting, and that's why I think the word regardless is so powerful for me. And especially being an entrepreneur, and to all the girls listening, like, it's like shit's gonna happen, life is gonna throw you so many twists and turns, and it's like, regardless, how can we move forward and rise above this? And learn and grow. So I think this is freaking awesome. And even I have a really similar relationship with my mom, because she's she comes at the end of every month for a segment called Office Hours, and we're growing this into a larger platform together. And it is so cool to have like a family member on your side.
Yes.
And it's almost like it's never going to be perfect, but I think if you can be real about the journey of like, how can we hold space for one another and be like, it's okay that you're feeling this way, and be honest about that, because it's so much more relatable, and people will want to buy a product that is real and raw. So props to you, ladies.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's amazing.
Thank you for your endless support.
Yeah.
It really means the world.
Our goal right now too, because we don't have a product to market right now. We just want to share everything from an educational standpoint on this medicine,
but also building this business, right? And we use our platforms to do it. I'm like, how else can I share with the rest of the world snippets of Chinese medicine? How do I do in reels of less than 1 minute? I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, there is so much depth to this medicine, but how do I break it down to make it digestible to someone who's never heard of it? I remember the other day, someone was asking me, oh, like, do you massage this pressure point on the left or right? I'm like, oh my goodness, to me, meridians are bilateral. It runs bilateral, but I've never shared that. I'm like, how? Yeah, I'm just like, whoa, and they keep asking that. I'm like, I need to share this. Yeah, next reel.
Yeah.
Today.
And this actually makes me think about like, why are we creating skincare, right? Why did we decide to create skincare to share traditional Chinese medicine? Because skin is the biggest organ. Yeah. It's also a manifestation of how you treat your body, which is the ethos of TCM. Right? And skin and beauty is the best avenue to reach out to the masses in a much broader standpoint versus one individual going to see an acupuncturist to understand the medicine.
Which
While
is
that
so
is still
beautiful,
so
and
powerful,
I love that. We have that with us.
Yeah, the barrier to entry to put yourself out there and to get an acupuncture session.
And then to go through an acupuncture protocol and journey, which takes months, right?
Yeah,
if you're trying to heal something.
Yeah, versus buying a skincare product and understanding the herbs that are beneficial for you, not just from an internal perspective, but from an external perspective as well. And that's what we're trying to share, right? Like our hero ingredient, for example, is wild chrysanthemum. And it's this beautiful Chinese flower that we grew up drinking tea during dim sum and like benefits.
And I mean, it's beautiful because you think of dim sum and sometimes it's really heavy. It's you have the oils, the gluten, it's very cloying.
Yes.
But and Chinese tea houses or dim sum homes, they will always give you a tea and you can choose it. And it's called juhua in Chinese medicine or gokfa in Cantonese. And growing up, we would always be like, yeah, let's have, gokfa and let's drink it. Because the properties of wild chrysanthemum is extremely cooling, detoxifying for the liver. It goes to the channels where it helps the detox process for the whole body.
Damn.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the yin and the yang. You're literally eating something that's heavy and then you're drinking a tea to clear it. It makes so much sense.
Yes.
It's food as medicine and it's there.
Exactly. And from a topical perspective, like wild chrysanthemum is super cooling too. So if you have like a sty in your eye too, you can place these flowers on your eyes.
And it helps clear it out. The toxicity, when we say cooling, it helps the inflammation.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
And it's a derivative of vitamin A and has beta carotene on it that is so beneficial for your skin. And so we want to share this beautiful herb. And it's in all our products that we are planning to launch with.
Okay, so when are your products going live?
We are hoping in quarter 1 of next year.
Okay.
So soon, really
Soon.
That's like,
Soon. Actually,
it's
I'm realizing
happening.
that it's November and it's almost December.
Crazy.
The new year is going to come up.
When you guys are launching, we are blasting it out to everyone who's a part of this Regardless family.
Please.
So that we can get it.
Yes.
I
Because
would love to
it's,
share it with everyone.
we're excited. I'm excited for you.
And the products that we're launching with, we want to emphasize an easy routine that's also digestible. So a face cleanser, a serum, and a face moisturizer. Simple, easy.
Perfect.
And with each order, we are also giving a dried chrysanthemum flower in each order that you can make tea with.
Yeah, and drink tea as you put in skincare. So it really emphasizes slowing down, making it your routine, and trying to make skincare less stressful because it's so overwhelming. There's so much out there. So how do you digest all the information out there that's telling you that this is good for
exactly.
your
So
skin?
we're emphasizing the holistic health, right? Outside in and inside out. So that is super important to our ethos as well as Moonbow's ethos.
It's fully like the entire lifestyle in one product. I think that's brilliant.
Yes.
And I do not know another product that embodies that. So
Thank you.
I cannot wait to get my hands on it.
Thank
We're
you.
so excited.
I cannot believe we are running out on time.
We're running out of time.
So I'm going to ask you ladies to really share with me your individual, like, regardless affirmation that hopefully stems from a place of maybe an adversity that you've experienced in your life, and regardless how you've overcome that. And maybe it's an affirmation that you both tell each other when you're in the midst of the unknown or fear or doubt. So Heather, should we start with you?
100%. Yes, please. Regardless of uncertainty, trust the process. And I think for me, this really resonates with my journey. I am someone who's very futuristic. I think about the future all the time. And, there are times in which I stress about it as well. And when I was in my private equity career for 7 years and I didn't feel fulfilled, when I found my wellness journey and meditated, I'd made sure to be grateful. And I have this mantra every morning that I say to myself. And the mantra is, today is a beautiful day of opportunity, and I open my heart to the universe and trust in its unfolding in my life. And I remind myself that things happen for a reason. And my phone case too also has a mantra on trusting the process, because things happen for a reason and it'll come in time, but you have to be patient with it. And for me, my journey took over 7 years. And I look at Felice, and her journey started when she was young, when she always knew she was going to be a doctor, right? While I was uncertain with my career for years and my calling, not even career, but just calling for life. So that's my mantra. Regardless of uncertainty, trust the process.
Thank you. I needed to hear that. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Was
that yours?
Definitely not, but I love that. It's funny, we didn't share it with each other.
That makes it so much more special.
So as twins, we also think very alike.
No, but I love it.
But it's funny because should I go with like the soul and the ethereal,
Yeah.
or should I go with, what makes sense in my medicine?
Yeah.
And for me, it's regardless of the stigma around Chinese medicine or traditional Chinese medicine, I'm all into sharing it, right? It's my sole purpose. And it really comes down to my personal story with transitioning from West to East. I mean, yes, Western medicine was most of my childhood. I knew I want to be a doctor since I was 6 years old. Definitely a past life transition into this life.
Yeah.
This is my sole purpose. But because of, growing up in Hong Kong, which is very westernized, and their outlook on medicine, which is so westernized too, right? They're like, you are the top scoring student.
Oh, absolutely.
You go to Western med school. You go to the UK, bring it back to Hong Kong. You go to the US, bring it back to Hong Kong. And so that was all of my background until I left college, and I was like, okay, medicine's awesome, but it's not for me. And that transition period was tough, right? I was going against social norms, but also family traditions, Chinese expectations, traditional Chinese parents where they're just like, but you've always wanted to be in medicine. Why are you throwing that away and studying TCM? Because even to them, they grew up in Hong Kong. They look up to westernization.
Yeah.
So how do I bring it back? And not until now, where it's one of the fastest growing medicines in the Western world. And now it's going back to the East. And so I'm just like, this is, And I mean, when I started it, it was pre-COVID, and COVID was kind of a defining factor in Hong Kong, where they opened up their first Chinese medicine hospital. Right. And so starting my journey a little bit before that, where I was like, but this is meant for me. This sits right in my gut. Yeah. So regardless of the stigma around it, my purpose is to share it with the world through my medicine, my clinic, and through Moonbow.
I love you girls. I love you. Seriously.
I love you too. Thank you. I feel that. I feel that in my gut.
That like it's coming from like all of this.
And
my
heel
shivers too.
In my heel gut. Thankful for that.
I love you girls. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
New episodes drop every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.